Good day and welcome back to Oz MTG. I'm Tim and today I have some Modern Horizons 3, the pre-release kit. We're going to crack that open today, see what's inside. Just letting you know, pre-release is on June the 7th. This is a store opening for the Adventurers Guild, and if you want to come down to our store, we're running the event down there and they'll be about 80 bucks for a ticket. So come on down, come have some games and enjoy. So let's pop this bad boy open and see how much power is inside. So it is a little bit more expensive than normal. The modern set is a stronger set, so that is why it is a little bit higher costed for you to buy and to get into. Our pre-releases are a lot cheaper normally, but there's some interesting art on the box here. We've got some Eldrazi's in here, some little tokens and bits and pieces, which is pretty cool. Some more Eldrazi's. They've brought them back for this set. There's some interesting Commander products that they've got as well for this. So inside we've got the dice, which is just your standard sort of dice, speckled, and got the little Modern Horizons 3 symbol on it, which is pretty cool. Inside here, I believe it's 6 packs, and you get the little, if you haven't ever been to a pre-release, you get the instructions on what to do here. Pretty easy. So I'd encourage you to go along. There's a lot of good guys that'll help you out if you don't know how to create your kit. So here we go. Here's our card on top. We've got Genku Future Shaper. These ones can't be put into your pre-release, so don't go thinking you can chuck these bad boys in. There is a lot of power in these boosters, so you won't need them. So we've got Genku Future Shaper, we've got some tokens, and then there should be the arena card. Yep, the arena card down there. Interesting. So here's our 6 boosters. They're the play boosters now, so they are more expensive. Because they are play boosters, they've gone away from draft because no one was buying the draft boosters, so this is what we're stuck with now. But we'll have a look. We'll break it apart as well and look at what's in the mythic rare slots, how I would play this one, because I love pre-release, so we'll see what's happening. Here's Grave Dig, interesting. Jolted Awake, Smelted Charbug, Deem Inferior, Basking Broodscale, Eldrazi Lizard, nice. Riddlegate Gargoyle, Eldrazi Boar, Warp Tusker, Spawngate Commander, I love this card. If you've ever played a Goblin deck, you'll know about the Siege Gang Commander, so it's a really cool Eldrazi version of it. I love it. Charitable Levy, so non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. So it's an interesting sort of tax effect. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, put a collection counter on it. Then if there are 3 or more on this, you sack it. If you do, draw a card, you can search your library for a plains. So it gives you a bit of ramp and a bit of lockdown, which is a pretty cool card. I like that. It's only 2 mana too, so it's very easy to get into. Mindless Conscription, very cool. Junk Diver, an old reprint, which is interesting. Here we go. What are we getting into? Devourer of Destinies. So 7 mana Eldrazi. You may reveal this card from in your opening hand. If you do, at the beginning of your first upkeep, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may put one of those back on top of your library, exile the rest, and whenever you cast a spell, exile target permanent that's 1 or more colors. Interesting way to filter a little bit. Cranial Ram, interesting little living equipment germ. Love the germs, good to see they're back in the game again. Forest, and then yeah, the double-sided token card. So interesting, an Eldrazi, a colorless as your rare in that. No double rares out of that either. So yeah, I guess we'll have to see how the rest of these packs go. So we've got Siege Smasher, Corrupted Shapeshifter. Yeah, interesting. Expanding Ooze. So there's oozes now in here. Fetid Gargantua, Horror. That's a pretty cool one. Hexgold Slith. Contaminated Landscape, so we've got, so adds colors, sack it, search your library for a basic plains, island or swamp, put it onto the battlefield, cycle. So this could be really good if you are running Eldrazi's and you're going for colorless, because it's got the colorless mana that it can generate as well. Also, worst case, you can always sack it and go get some stuff, and it's got cycle on it, so it's not bad in your decks, especially if you've got the pre-release and you go into it. We've got Hydra Trainer. Okay, so you can exert it. Interesting that it doesn't do anything with Hydras, but cool. Is it Genitorium? If you would get 1 or more energy, you get that much +1. Okay, so it's one of those effects. Tap, draw a card, activate only if you've paid or lost 4 or more energy this turn. So probably not going to be amazing pre-release, but I mean, it's good for commander. Stump stop, so this is a flip one. So target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. So a nice little like damage effect. And then we've got on the back here, so it's a land as well. So this could be a good little card to put in. That worst case you're getting a land out of it, best case you're killing somebody's creatures with it. So here we go, we've got, looks like we're going to have double rares out of this. We've got Layla, the Blade Reforged. This is an old reprint. When it attacks, you exile top card of your library. You may play the card this turn. Whenever one or more cards are put into exile, you can put a +1/+1 on her. So really good that she buffs herself. She's got haste too, so 3 mana, it's going to be a 3/3 on the first turn that it attacks. But being in exile as well, Eldrazi exile a lot of cards too, so just like you saw with that other one, it could be actually decent in an Eldrazi deck, so definitely worth drafting around that one. We've got Kudo, King amongst bears. Other creatures have base power and toughness 2/2 and are bears in addition to the other types. So drafting okay-ish if you could build around this, but this is going to be an amazing commander. I reckon this is going to be like a killer commander, knocking everyone's creatures down to 2/2s and then you being able to buff your creatures with enchantments and stuff to make yours more valuable. I think it's going to be amazing. Oh wow, okay, so we've got 3 rares. We've got Flare of Duplication, so 3 mana. You may sacrifice a non-token red creature rather than paying the spell cost, and copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So that would be good if someone's trying to do some removal on you. You could sack the creature that they're targeting to then get extra value out and turn around and kill their creature back again. But even still, 3 mana to be able to copy an instant or sorcery is still quite nice too. So yeah, this deck's definitely looking a lot of red aggro at the moment. Oh, and a snow-covered foil waste, that's pretty cool. So they are putting them in here. You can choose to have that as your basic lands as well, your wastes. So if you are going, an Eldrazi build, you can put wastes into your deck, because you will need that colorless to cast some of the spells. Okay, oh wow, this is a legendary creature. I haven't seen him yet. When he enters the battlefield, deal 4 damage to any target, so 6 mana for a 4/4, that's pretty expensive. Discard another card, name him, sack 2 mountains, it does 4 damage to any target. Interesting, okay, I could see that. If you got enough of these, they could be okay to get into. Demon Furia, Evolution Witness, that's cool. Elf Shaman Mutant. It can adapt whenever 1 or more +1/+1s are put on it. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So that is solid, because I mean 3 mana for a 2/1 is pretty average. You can adapt and you put 2 +1/+1s on it, so you're going to get a 4/3 out of it, 5 mana, and you're going to return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So green's got some good value in those kinds of cards. Kami the Jealous Thirst, so another Kami again we've got. Death Touch 1/3, yeah, pretty cool. Area Auxiliary, Bird Soldier, cool. Molten Gatekeeper, it's a golem, and you can unearth it, which is nice. I love unearthing. Tranquil Landscape, that's that same land again. Furnace Hellkite, that's a reprint, I believe. It's been around before. Affinity for artifacts, so it's cheaper to cast, yeah. We've got Golden Tail Trainer. Auras and equipments cost X less, where X is its power, so it's 1 to begin with. Once you start buffing it with its own cards, it makes it heaps cheaper, which is nice. When it attacks, other modified creatures you control get +X until the end of turn, where X is this thing's power. So yeah, good in an aura deck, and it could be good if you went green-white enchantment aura based. I know there's a few bestow creatures in this too, so that actually could be a solid card. We've got Disciple of Prerelease, so it's 6 mana for a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, you may sack another creature. If you do, gain X life and draw X cards, where X is that creature's power, or it can be a land. So what does this have? Oh, when it enters the battlefield, you may pay 3 life. If you don't, it enters tapped. Okay, so it doesn't enter untapped, but you can pay 3, which is an okay way to do it. So the card itself, you could see some value out of. I would include that in a green deck. That seems pretty decent. Meteoric Mace, it's 6 mana for a 4/4. Creature gets trample, and you get a cascade out of it. Cascade we've seen is pretty solid, so cascading, it is expensive for 4/0 and trample, and the equip cost is expensive, but cascading into something and getting good value out of it is worth it. Definitely in card advantage. Oh, nice. So it seems we're getting a lot of these free cast spells, which is cool. We've got Flare of Fortitude, so 4 mana, or you can sack a non-token white creature rather than pay its mana cost. Until the end of the turn, your life total can't change, and permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible. So that's insane. That's almost Teferi's Protection-esque in a way. Technically a little bit better too, because your life total can't change as well. So that's really, really solid. How good would it be in the pre-release? Yeah, you could use it if someone's doing like a full send, tapping all their creatures at you, trying to give you a little alpha strike. You can sack one creature, give them all hexproof and indestructible if you can't pay the cost. Or if they're trying to do removal, it's a great way to stall out a turn. So really good in white, really good card. This is red-white spells could be amazing out of this one. We've got Drowned Lurker, which is 7 mana, 7/7 Vigilance Eldrazi. When you cast or cycle it, you create a 0/1 Eldrazi spawn with sack, and you can cycle it for 3. So 7 mana for a 7/7 with Vigilance actually isn't bad. I probably would play that. Swamp and, whoa, an upside down head. Ow, wow, that's creepy. Yeah, so a lot of power. It's really hard to sort of put your finger down on what the best way to go with this is, because there's just so much strength in the commons and uncommons as well. So like here, 2 mana, devoid, no color. So it does 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If that creature would die, exile it instead. I mean, 2 mana for 4 damage to exile a creature as well is really strong. Aether Spike. Yeah, so you can counterspell. We've got Nightshade Dryad, 1/2 Death Toucher to tap and add colorless, which is really nice for your Eldrazi. And 1 mana of any color. I would have liked to seen this as an Eldrazi Dryad. That would have been even cooler to be able to do that ability, but that's still really, really, really good for that. Refurbish Familiar, a Zombie Rat, affinity for artifacts. Yeah. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. For each opponent who can't, you draw a card. So better in Commander because you've got multiple opponents and it is 4 mana. It does reduce with the affinity, so that could be quite a nice card in an artifact zombie-ish deck. We've got a Knight. Knight's always great. Warped Tusker, so 7 mana for a 6/8 with reach. Whenever you cast or cycle it, you get a spawn. So very much along that same sort of theme. Oh, cool. We've got a Fairy Rogue, which is very relevant in a lot of the Commander decks. Flying 2/1, and whenever you draw your 3rd card in a turn, you return it from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. That's nice. Sometimes you won't be able to proc it, but I mean, every now and then you might get it. Just going to have to remember not to miss the triggers. I would even set it aside and put a little counter on it every time you're doing it. Twisted Riddle Keeper, nice, an Eldrazi Sphinx. I always love a good Sphinx. So we've got 8 mana for a 5/5. It has a merge, and a merge cost is 7. So you can reduce it by sacking a creature, reducing its mana value by the creature's CMC. Whenever you cast a spell, tap up to 2 permanents, put a stun counter on each of them. So it's a flying 5/5. Yeah, it's pretty highly costed, but it could be good. We've got a Frogmere Enforcer. So Prototype, that's interesting. I guess it is a mirror. Affinity for artifacts, 7 mana, 4/4, or you can prototype it out as well. It's alright. It's not amazing, but it's not horrible. We've got Horror, a 2/3 Horror with lifelink. When it attacks, you may draw cards equal to its power. If you do, discard that many cards. So you can loot a bit of lifelink in a Horror. Horror is a tribe that's not too bad in Commander, so pretty okay. That heralds the end, so 2 mana for an Eldrazi drone. It's a 2/2, so 2 for 2 is nice. Colors spells with mana value 7 or greater cost 1 less to cast, so it's a cost reducer for your Eldrazi, and other colors creatures you control get +1/+1. So, I mean, in an Eldrazi Commander deck, amazing. If you're going down the Eldrazi route with this, it's an amazing card as well. You just got to get the colors out to be able to cast that. Victimize, cool. Black reanimation. Victimize is like in pretty much every black Commander deck out there to get your creatures back. Solid card. Oh wow, power balance, excellent. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may reveal the top card of your library. If you do, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost if the 2 spells have the same mana value. So Worst case, it's a scry. Best case, you're getting something out of it. It's really good if you can do things like Sensei's Divining Top, scroll racks, any kind of top deck manipulation is really nice with this card, but all in all, it is still a really nice card and it will see a lot of play. Then we've got, Nesting Grounds. So colorless, tap, one tap, move counter from target permanent you control onto another, activate as a sorcery. So, I mean, not the best card, but it's a colorless source if you're going down that path. So we're getting through it. We've got a few interesting hits. Void Pouncer, Eldrazi, Devoid, 3/1, and Kicker. So it comes in with 2 +1/+1s, and a trample counter and haste. Oh, that's interesting. So okay-ish early game and better late game. Electrozoa, Jellyfish, Flash Flying 3/1. You get energy counters, and at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you tap it unless you pay an energy counter. So yeah, okay. Temperamental Oozewag. So it's an Ooze Brushwag, which is just crazy. But 4 mana for a 4/4. Modified creatures you control have trample, and the cool thing is you can modify this too by paying 3 into it. So that alone is just a strong card. You can make it a 6/6 with trample and give all the other modified creatures trample. So green-white is going to love this a lot. We've got Dream Drinker Vampires, so first vampire that I've seen out of this. It's got Adapt on it, which is nice. Whenever you put one or more +1/+1s on it, it gains menace until the end of the turn. So life linking menace, and then it'll go up by 1, so it'll be a 3/2. That's quite handy. Nyxborn Unicorn, so we've gone back into the Theros cycle with the bestows. So this is an old mechanic where you pay the bestow cost. You can pay 2 and it comes out as a 2/2, or you can pay the bestow, which puts it on as like an aura onto a creature, and then when the creature dies, this then becomes a creature as well. So it has Mentor. When this creature attacks, put a +1/+1 on target attacking creature with lesser power, and enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and Mentor. So yeah, not too bad. 2 mana, 2/2 with Mentor, or you give a creature +2/+2 and Mentor and have a little bit of redundancy when it falls off is pretty cool. Okay, so we've got Twisted Landscape, so this is nice. So 3 mana to do a lot of these sack it, kind of Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse style setups, but it makes colors, which is nice. Conjure Goblin, it's a nice little energy goblin. Propagated Drone, so 2 mana for a 2/2. Creature tokens you control have Evolve. So whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it has greater power than the token, you put a +1/+1 on it. So that's really nice. And then you can pay 4 mana, create a 0/1 Eldrazi Spawn with Sack It. So that's probably going to be a good card, I'd say. 2 mana, 2/2. Also to make your Eldrazi spawns, to make them bigger as you're putting creatures in. So it's good generation. It's got good value baked into the card. That'll be a strong card to build around. We've got Ethereum Petramander. Okay. Salamander Drake. That'd be Terramander. Okay. 1 mana, 1/1 flying. It can only block creatures with flying. It's got 7 mana to adapt 4. Ability costs 1 less for each other artifact you control. So that could be alright. A 5/5 and for basically 2 if you've got enough artifacts could be decent for flying as well. But it can only block creatures with flying. So there's not a lot that we've seen in here with flying. There's some, but still, I mean, a 5/5 fly is still pretty good. So Emrakul's Messenger, Eldrazi Fairy Rogue. Here's another one with flying. 2/1 flying. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create an Eldrazi Spawn token. That's great. I would run it in a Rogue deck. I'd run it in a Fairy deck. Yeah, good to build around. We've got Vexing Bauble. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter it. That is insane. I mean, it locks you out, so you can't use those ones where you sack your creatures and stuff like that. But if you want to lock out people normally from going crazy and comboing off as well, that can be insane. You can also sack it to draw a card. That is a really, really, really strong card. Oh, we've got Breya. Old school Breya. Nice. Well, there's a Mythic. That's fantastic. If you haven't played against Breya before, she's pretty gross. But yeah, that would be a great card to build around in this. Oh, what the? What? Holy. Okay, so 2 mythics in this pack. That is amazing. Breyer's solid. And then we've got Kozilek, the Broken Reality. So 9 mana for a 9/9. When you cast a spell, up to two target players each manifest 2 cards from their hands. For each card manifested this way, you draw a card. So you're going to draw hopefully 4 cards. Worst case, they don't manifest 2. You're getting 2 anyway. Other colors creatures you control get +3/+2. So your manifest creatures are going to be 5/4s versus their 2/2s. That is insanely strong. That is gross. And amazing. Yeah, build around it. Here you go, Soka Ember Mage. I would probably build around that now that you've got 2 in this. And that's a nice rat token. Wow. So 2 mythics in 1 pack. That's good. Like Breyer's really good. Kozilek's cool because you can literally put him in he's colorless, you can put him in any of your decks. So really nice. We've got Aether Spike, Expanding Ooze, Fetid Gargantua, Hexgold Sith, Fanged Flame. So yeah, this would be really good. There's another one of those landscapes. That's nice to see. Writhing Chrysalis. So 4 mana, 2/3 Devoid. You get 2 spawns. Whenever you sack another Eldrazi, you put a +1/+1 on it. Could be pretty good. Null Elemental Blast. So it's colorless to cast. You can choose one. Counter target multicolored spell, destroy target multicolored permanent. In a pre-release, okay-ish. Often it's very, as you see, there's a lot of these are single colors, so not as strong in Commander. It's amazing because most people don't run mono decks, and there's always going to be someone at the table with a multicolored deck. Really nice. So we've got Signature Slam, put a +1/+1 on a creature that you control, then each modifier creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. That's actually really, really strong because modified creatures are auras and equipments and counters. So like Lightning Greaves on anything, Swiftfoot Boots, stuff like that makes them all do their damage to that creature. It was a little bit more, it's 3 mana for the fight, which they usually sit around 2, but even still that could be really nice. We've got Witch Enchanter, so 4 mana for a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, destroy an artifact or enchantment an opponent controls, so a little bit of value in there, not too bad. Human Warlock, so human tribal's good, and then yeah, it's a land on the backside, and it enters, you pay 3 life. If you don't, it comes in tapped, so it's playable, not broken, but still decent. Distinguished Conjurer, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. I mean, it's still strong normally. 5 mana, exile another target creature you control, then return it. So it's Blink, so it's got Blink based into it, which is really, really, really good. Polluted Delta, hell yeah. This is what you want this set for. These are great. Pay 1 life, sack it, find an island or swamp. Doesn't have to be basic, can be any of those types. And now that we've got like so many different triome based lands, you can basically search up any land you want now. So getting a few little fetches in there is really nice. And a foil Charitable Levy. So yeah, wow, it's a interesting set. I like all the Eldrazi reprints, they're really great. We've got some interesting cards. What I'll do is I'll just quickly go through, throw them all down, break them out into colors, and get a rough idea of what we could go for. So let's do that. Okay, so I've gone with an interesting direction. I originally was looking at the red slot and excited by the cards. I'm more excited about them for Commander, but looking at it, I've gone, I really like the green, the Eldrazi, the blue, and I splashed a touch into black, and I'll show you why I've gone that way. The lands are probably the main reason why. There's very easy ways to search out the colors that you need in all this. So first I've got nesting grounds. I've got that mainly for the +1/+1 counters because I've got a lot of +1/+1 synergy in here. We've got tranquil landscape, so I can get forest or island. I've got contaminated landscape, so I can get my island or my swamp out of this. I've got foreboding landscape. I can get all three of my colors out of this. And also, because I'm going heavy in Eldrazi, I can get my colorless out of a lot of this. Twisted landscape will get my forest and my swamp. My polluted delta will get me an island or a swamp. So I've got a lot of ways to get my colors out of this. I'm pretty happy with that. I'll show you my control package. There's not a lot of destruction in here. There's a little bit of control that I've gone with. So this is a nice little counter spell. Choose target spell. You get 2 energy counters, and you may pay any amount of energy. Counter that spell unless its controller pays 1 for each energy paid this way. So you might be able to bank an energy because I got lucky and got 2 of them. So nice little counter spell, 2 mana. It's only got 1 blue in its identity, so it's not too hard to get to. Then we've gone with Signature Slam. I actually like this card. Going with the amount of modified creatures that I'm going to have, I think this is going to be a nice little removal card in there. I've got Victimized to get some value out of it because I've got some really big Eldrazi's. It'd be really nice to get the big Eldrazi's back when they've been answered. Then we've got Deemed Inferior. So this is a little bit of pseudo removal. It's 4 mana. Costs 1 less for each card that I've drawn this turn. So at minimum, it's a 3 mana. The owner of target non-land permanent puts it in their library second from the top or the bottom. So it's a way to get rid of something to get through. I have 2 of those. I don't have a lot of card draw in here, but it's about all the removal that I sort of have because I'm not dipped into red for those damage spells. Then we've got Hydra Trainer. This is actually not bad. When you exert it as it attacks, target creature gets +X/+X until the end of the turn, where X is the number of counters on permanents you control. So permanents full stop. So it can adapt as well for 2, which is nice. So I think that's going to be a great little card. We've got a good little ramp going as well. So that's 2 CMC. I don't have any 1s in here. I couldn't hit any that were good enough for it. Messenger, Emrakul Messenger. So a lot of these ones, when you draw your second card each turn, create an Eldrazi spawn, and you can sack the spawn for colorless. So that's kind of my pseudo ramp in this as well. That heralds the ends, good, makes them cheaper. We've got Basking Bruise Scale. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1s are put on it, you may create an Eldrazi spawn, so it's got Adapt on it as well. So 2 mana for a 2/2, which I can pump up to a 3/3 and then get a spawn to ramp, pseudo ramp. Nightshade Dryads, a nice little one. We've got Propagated Drone, so creature tokens you control have evolved, so they'll get bigger and bigger, so my +1/+1 synergy that I've got into here. Expanding Ooze, when it attacks, put a +1/+1 on target modified creature you control, and it can adapt as well, so it can get a +1/+1, go up to a 4. Really nice. I've got 2 of those, which is one of the reasons why I dipped into black. I think it's a good little card. Evolution Witness, whenever 1 or more +1/+1s are put on it, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So having those abilities to be able to put a few +1/+1s on my creatures will work really well with that. I wish I got like 2 or 3 of that. I think that would be the MVP in the deck. Pick up Disciple of Prerelease. This is an expensive one, but it's a land as well. I'm probably going to use it for its land, but like late game, it could be really good having a big Eldrazi, healing a whole heap, drawing a lot of cards. We've got Corrupted Shapeshifter, so when it enters the battlefield, you can make it become a lot of different things. It's an Eldrazi, it's devoid, and not as much synergy, but I just thought it's a cool card to be able to get something, what you need in that moment. The Temperamental Oozewag is really, really strong. Modified creatures you control have trampled, so a lot of these creatures have that modification to them, so I get a lot of value out of that. Then we're getting up into the expensive Eldrazi's. 7 mana, 7/7. You can get Eldrazi spawn tokens. You can also cycle, so that's why Victimize I thought would be half decent. I can cycle these early game if I'm not getting any value for them. Hit a way to either pull them back out with that elf as well. We've got Devourer of Destinies. It's just a nice one that I can use as a removal, and it's a 6/6 as well. Warped Tuskus, this is the same thing. We can cycle it out if we need to. When you cast or cycle it, you're then getting that ramp as well from it, which is really good. So I've got 2 of those too. So I've got 3 of that effect to help get me up there quickly. Then we've got Twisted Riddle Keeper. So that's the emerge one that taps things down and puts stun counters. It's not amazing, but still okay. We've got Kozilek, and that was one of the main reasons that I went with this. The card draw, the size of it, it is just a solid, strong card in this. So yeah, it's an interesting Eldrazi sort of modification tribal. I think it'll be alright. It's got a little bit of removal package. Surprisingly, looking at what I had, there wasn't a lot of removal in the set that I got out of it. So I think going big, stompy creatures with some ramp and some sort of +1/+1 shenanigans, I think this will be a good little pre-release. So chuck that in with some 17 lands. You've obviously got a lot of the lands here that you want to get, so just swap out what you need. I'd go a little bit lighter on the swamps because I'm not so deep into black, but yeah, and I can fetch them too really easy. So yeah, I think it's a great little pre-release. So if you've got some time, come on down to our shop where the Adventurers Guild will be open on the 7th, running this as well. It's a little bit more expensive, but as you see, a lot of the cards are actually really playable, especially in Commander. So we'll see you there if you come on down.